I am the best, and I'm aiming for greatness. And those are some big words I'm talking, but I'm trying to prove them. And in my opinion, the way to be the best is by working the hardest. And I love being productive so much. My worst days are the days that I'm not productive, and I genuinely feel like empty. Work is the only thing I ever want to be doing. I have this like dream or fantasy or whatever you want to call it, that's of me like renting a cabin out in the woods and just doing nothing but working every single day. Like the first thing I think of when I wake up is YouTube, and all I do all day is either edit or write or study or brainstorm or like just like being fully locked in and working like 18 hours a day. And I feel like as a society, we've given work this like negative connotation of like, work, it's just something you have to get done, and then afterwards you can have fun. I think work can be and is fun. Is it always fun? No, but it's far from being always bad. I want to reach a point where I'm like essentially working all day. Will that be exhausting? Yes, definitely. But I also think it's a privilege to feel this tired. That's part of why I have this philosophy of like wanting to work so much, is because I feel incredibly lucky to have something to work towards. You know, because so many people spend their whole lives searching for like, oh, what's my purpose? What am I gonna do with my life? And I feel that I've already found what I want to do. So I feel like it would be a disservice and a waste if I didn't try my hardest to like use the opportunities that have been given to me. And another reason is to minimize regrets. I've talked about this in my biggest fear video. The roofs are uneven, so I'm gonna have to move this entire wall out one more. In my video about my fears, I talked about how my biggest fear is that I'll regret not doing more with my life. And so that is also why I try to, do the most I can. And I also try to do everything to the best of my ability. I have this quote that embodies this philosophy like perfectly, and it comes from the head chef of my summer camp. So I was in a conversation with a group of people. I wasn't actually talking because I'm like awkward and shy, but I was just listening. I don't remember what the conversation was about. I don't remember who else was there. I just remember that the chef, he said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. What a quote, bro. It felt like watching the Mona Lisa get painted. The meaning of life, in my opinion, is to find fulfillment and happiness, which then, in my opinion, means that in a way, the meaning of life is also pain. Not pain for the sake of pain, but rather pain for the sake of high achievement. Because anything worth having is gonna hurt to get, but if it's worth having, it's worth hurting for. Because, if everything is just handed to you, it doesn't really mean anything, right? It doesn't have the same value or satisfaction. And if you want something bad enough, you'll be willing to like go through the pain of getting it. I think that that's what everything really boils down to, is like, how bad do you want something? Because that dictates how much you're willing to do for it. For example, say that you're at your friend's house and you're like mildly hungry. You ask your friend if they got anything to eat, and they say that they got a peanut butter bagel, but you're not too fond of peanut butter. Maybe you're like allergic or something. If so, that's a skill issue, but that's besides the point. Maybe you just don't like peanut butter, which is diabolical, but that's also besides the point. The point is that you decline the bagel. But now say that you're stranded in the middle of the desert. You haven't eaten anything in weeks, and there's a very real possibility that you will starve later that day if you don't eat something. You find a decaying, moldy rat carcass, but you eat the rat anyways, right? And so why did you turn down a peanut butter bagel, but you decided to eat a moldy rat? The difference is that in the desert, you wanted to eat more. This house looks terrible. Another thing to note, right, is that in the desert example, it's like, oh, well, why did you eat a rat? It's because you had to. I think that's a neat little piece of advice, is that like when you want to do something, but it's also like difficult to do, you gotta like find a reason as to why you have to do it. There's this one race last year during track season where I like really wanted to stop running, but I was like, oh, I can't just stop running because my coach is right there. He'll see me and he'll like get mad at me. I don't want that. And that's what I used to like finish the race. I also believe that life is meant to be enjoyed, not just like when you're all happy and everything is going well, but also like the struggles of life. I think everything has like a vibe to it, and I feel like it's important to feel all the vibes of like everything in life. Another thing is, I'm hearing myself talk about this and I'm thinking, does this make me workaholic? Yes it does. And I'm worried that that's gonna be really bad for parenthood because of all those like crappy Christmas movies where there's like the absenting workaholic dad. And I don't want to be like that, but that's also part of why I'm working so hard, and part of why I want this to work is that I would love to be able to be a full-time parent. I'd love to have a great, successful YouTube career and then be able to retire when I have kids, so that way I can put all of my attention and energy and focus to my kids. And then who knows, maybe once they're off to college, I can get back on that YouTube grind. Also, I do want to like throw this out there that like these are my own personal philosophies. You know, I know that like other people have their own priorities, their own things they want to do with their life. And I don't want to come off as like preachy, because I know that like this is just what I want to do. No. Ooh, Jesus. Maybe in the future I won't feel fulfilled by like working really hard, and I'll feel more fulfilled by like relaxing. I might make another video like this in a couple years if anything like changes. This section of the roof is really confusing me right now. I also want to end the video off with a couple extra quotes, like other little things that I've found useful. First off is this quote that one of my friends said. He said, we don't know what's gonna happen. All we can try to do is make good things happen. Under the context of like worrying about things in the future. Also, I think affirmations are like a pretty nice thing, you know, because they like help reframe, you know, like your way of thinking. And I can like sort of attest to their functionality. I started the video off by saying that I was the best, you know, and that's like one of the affirmations that I've been like saying to myself. You know, I don't necessarily love the word affirmations just because I feel like it just kind of sounds cringe. Like I have like noticed it working. So if I had 2 pieces of advice to give you for this video, first off is like think about who you want to be and like what qualities and what features you want to have, and then start like saying to yourself that you already are those things and have those things, you know, like in the present tense, not like, oh, I'm gonna be this, I am this. And then hopefully you'll start to see your like behavior change to match those things that you're saying to yourself. And my second piece of advice is do not make the roof of a house without having a plan. This genuinely turned out horrible. And if you want to hear me ramble about music, then click on this video right here.